Welcome to Fourth and Forever, the flagship show of Roundtable Sports Network. Join hosts Stan, Richie, and TD as they break down the latest news and storylines across the NFL, featuring game predictions, breakdowns, heated debates, live Patreon callers, and everything in between. Catch Fourth and Forever every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Fourth and Forever, your daily NFL news show on the Roundtable Sports Network, the only Roundtable Sports Network on the damn internet. Richie, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing fantastic. We were a little late today because we were waiting for TD, but we decided to start it up without him. Hopefully he can join soon. But yeah, life is great. You know, it's a Wednesday, October 15th, and we got some big-time NFL stuff we got to talk about, some storylines. There's a lot of debate going on around the NFL. There's a lot of things happening that we got to break down. So hit that thumbs up button, folks. We're excited to give you another Fourth and Forever episode.
Hit that thumbs up sign indeed, folks. We are going into week 7. The Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills have a bye week this week. And I think the biggest question to me, Richie, is someone said on X, I forget who, but they raised the question that the AFC conference as a whole has been very confusing as into who to identify as a quality team in the conference. And like you look at a lot of the teams that are currently in the playoff picture, who to you are the real deal in this conference? I'm just curious from your perspective.
In the AFC?
Yeah. It's who are the big three in your eyes?
The big three, in my eyes, right now, one of them is currently not in the playoffs, which I think will be, which is the
Kansas City Chiefs, I'm assuming you're talking about.
Yeah, I definitely going to have to put them up there. I know that will piss some people off, but I'm definitely going to add them into that conversation. I think another one are the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are a squad that is favorable. I think their defense is only going to get better as the season goes on. I like everything about that team. And then the third one, man, you know, it's like I want to say the Buffalo Bills because of what they've done in recent seasons. But this season, if you throw away what the Bills have done in the past, it's hard to really say them. But I'll still give them the respect because they have an MVP quarterback, Josh Allen. And I think that they have a coaching staff. In my opinion, I know Bills fans will disagree with me, but I think that they have a coaching staff and a good enough quarterback that will handle adversity the right way and get back on track. I expect the Bills to still be one of the top dogs in the AFC this year. So I'll say the Bills, the Steelers, and the Chiefs right now.
The Bills, the Steelers, and the Chiefs. So I do want to talk about the Bills a bit later because I do kind of have a theory about why our offense has been looking so down like for the past couple of games, and I want to hear your thoughts on that. But one team that currently has the first overall seed, if the playoffs were to start today, is the Indianapolis Colts, and I realize that you did not include them on your big three of the AFC. What do the Colts need to do for you to start taking them seriously?
Yeah, I think the Colts, they are facing the Chargers this week, if I'm not mistaken. I think they have a big week, and they're right there. I mean, I would say they're 4 on that list, and you know, when you ask a question like that, it's really hard to not include the Colts, but I'm just still a wait and see mode. We've seen a lot of teams get off the fast starts, but then they fall off the face of the earth at the end of the season. They don't step up in the postseason. Not that I'm expecting that to happen with the Colts by any stretch, but I'm going to have to see a little bit more from the Colts just because I have seen the Chiefs do it. They've been to how many AFC championships in a row, and they're 3 straight AFC champions. The Bills, they are a team that has been far in the playoffs for years. And the Steelers, they're a winning organization now with the new quarterback and are absolutely thriving. So I feel more confident with those 3 teams because the Colts are fresh, man. They're like babies in this. But I got a lot of respect for the Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones. I got to see these next 4 to 5 weeks. If they're still the first seed at the end of the month of October and into November, I'll definitely include them.
So the Indianapolis Colts, man, the real story with these guys, as you may have heard me hint at for the past couple of weeks, has been their defense. Like, yeah, like I'm excited about what Daniel Jones is putting out there. it's funny that all you need is somebody that's just responsible with the football and is not an erratic player like Anthony Richardson was. But the real story is that defense over in Indianapolis. 4th in the NFL right now for DVOA. That's minus 8%. That is a statistic based off of like how they compare to other average defenses in particular situations, and they put into consideration the value of opponent. Then the exact same thing when it ends up coming into EPA. They're a very quality defense out there. But big story. I'm glad you put the Buffalo Bills in that situation or in your overall conversation, because many Bills fans are bought out, right? Like many don't know what's going on with this offense, right? And feeling cute might call an end around. And
to Elijah Moore.
Dude. Well, 2 weeks ago, it was Dawson Knox. And before that, it was Khalil Shakir. And a lot of Bills fans still like to pinpoint focus on the defense, right? And I raised this question to them. I said, let's imagine that we were still in training camp and I had a crystal ball that told me what the opposing offenses were going to score against us. I'm not going to tell you how many points the Bills are going to score. And I asked Bills fans this. I said, if I were to tell you that the New England Patriots were to score 23 points against this team and the Atlanta Falcons were going to score 24 points against this team, would you have that as a win for the Buffalo Bills? And I feel like 99% of Bills fans would probably say yes. Would you agree?
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, right? So really how I look at this overall defense, like, yeah, of course we're going to get gashed by a big run here and there. But, I mean, how much more do you need from this defense when we have held our back-to-back losses, our opponents, to 9 points collectively? 6 to the New England Patriots, 3 to the Atlanta Falcons in the second half. With all of the injuries that we have, I think that's the defense doing their damn job.
Yeah, and I'll add on what you're saying, Dan. The 3 points in the second half is important. I mean, that's where you have to play your best brand of football as a defense, is in the second half, and more specifically the fourth quarter. The defense did their job. The Falcons was explosive as all heck. I mean, Drake London had like 9 catches, 150 yards, and a touchdown at half. He had 1 catch in the second half. And obviously game plans change, but I think that the adjustment from the defense from the Buffalo Bills in the second half is definitely an encouraging sign. You cannot hang that loss on them. Josh Allen is an MVP quarterback. He needed to step up in the second half. And this is how I look at it, even from a wide lens. Stop being so reactionary and like criticizing and want to just fire. Give these guys chances to learn from mistakes, man. I mean, this is football. Like, it's never going to be perfect. So I know, Dan, you were maybe 17-0. We had Andy, a great caller of the show, saying 17-0. That's just unrealistic. And hey, you're allowed to be a fan. You're allowed to, expect greatness, but that was never going to happen. Football is hard. You're never going to be perfect in this league. Yeah.
So I have a theory about the offense, right? Because how I've been looking at this team, we basically have the exact same supporting cast minus a couple of fringe wide receivers, but they're on pace for having the exact same stats as the players that ended up leaving this wide receiver room. It's either one of two things. Number one, with Joe Brady, has lost 20 IQ points within one night, where he decides not to pound the rock with James Cook when it's clearly working. He has decided to completely walk away from what made this team successful by taking what the defense gave them, right? And he's just doing that just for shits and giggles, which I think is pretty unbelievable. Or number two, and this is really what I'm trying to understand, because like that whole thing, like wide receivers aren't getting separation, I get it. But like when you look at the tape, Rich, like there are guys open, but it's a check down and there's somebody that's wide open in the flat. And that's something that Buffalo took every single game last year. But now you're seeing Josh Allen, like he's getting nervous. He's going on ahead. He's trying to force the big play, like what have you. So my only thought that's popping into my head right now is that Joe Brady has the uncharacteristic belief that he can pull something out of the Kansas City Chiefs playbook by being conservative from the offensive play calling side of things and try and save as much as he possibly can for the playoffs. And it's serving to the detriment of this team. I'm not saying that I agree with this mentality, but that's the only thing that I could possibly see why we have looked uncharacteristic on the offensive side of the football for the past couple of weeks. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I also think that the game plan from the Falcons was so magnificent, and it's pressure, which creates Josh Allen to be frantic, but there's also clogging the gaps where Josh Allen is probably going to try to escape the pressure. That's what Jeff Ulbrich did such a great job at schematically, that they close the pocket. Josh Allen's usually like, oh, wow, there's pressure. He's very good at eluding it, but they close the gaps and they attack the line of scrimmage so Josh Allen cannot use his legs to pick up yards. And a lot of those sacks came from that. Also, that pressure gets into Josh Allen's head. Like that flick that he had on 4th down, Josh Allen should not have done that, man. He got a little too cute. He should have planted his feet, threw it normally across his body. It would have been a first down. But that's where Josh Allen sometimes gets a little frantic in the pocket and pressure gets to him. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic that you should trust your Buffalo Bills organization to get out of this hump. I'm definitely not going to write them off just yet. But that's that. I think another segment that we need to get into, Dan, is the trades. The trade deadline is fastly approaching. And I want to give this a quick little announcement. We have a special trade deadline show.
We do.
That we have not told anybody yet. So stay tuned, folks, because the AFC East Roundtable crew is going to be on a special trade deadline show on the day of the trade deadline. We are collaborating with Bleacher Report, folks. All right. We're really excited for that. We're going to be live on the main Bleacher Report YouTube channel and their app for 2 hours straight. It's going to be me, Dan, TD, and Colby with Bleacher Report insider James Palmer. And that's going to be pretty cool, man. I'm excited for that, Dan.
It's going to be awesome. And you know what, man? I have been thinking of a lot of potential movers during the deadline, specifically from the Bills side of things, obviously. I think that an extra wide receiver would help us out. So I've really been trying to look at a couple of names that I think that could be on the move for the wide receiver side of things. I think, so the obvious answer is A.J. Brown. I wonder if Philly is going to let him walk. If he is, it's going to cost an absolute mint. It's going to be a couple of first-round picks. Where does he go? It's only going to cost somebody, I believe, $790,000. And as he plays more games with Philly, that number decreases. I think Chris Olave is a name to watch. I think Rashid Shaheed is a name to watch. And fun fact, I also have Jalen Waddle as a player that could be on the move from the Miami Dolphins. I do think that could be interesting. Like from a Bills fan, I mean, give me Jalen Waddle. I know Chris Olave sounds interesting, but for him to come to a team that has this dark cloud of injury luck surrounding this organization all season in 2025, I'm not willing to roll the dice with a history such as that. I'm on board with Jalen Waddle.
Do you think there's a world, though, where there's an interdivision trade for that? Because there's another name you didn't mention that is probably going to get traded. That's Breece Hall. And the reason why I bring up Breece Hall is because the New England Patriots are looking for a running back. And I don't think the Jets would trade him to the Patriots. At least I hope they wouldn't. Just like I wouldn't think Jalen Waddle and the Dolphins would be inclined to trade him in the division to the Bills.
So the division trades are rare, but I do think that there's two ingredients that make it a reality. If there is a team that's on the cusp of being competitive within the foreseeable future, yeah. But then you have to look at the Miami Dolphins, which I'm surprised Mike McDaniel still has his job. I think Chris Greer goes too once Mike McDaniel is gone this upcoming offseason. And I think that the organization Miami realizes that this is like a 2 to 3 year type project. So I think that Waddle and Breece Hall, maybe not so much for the Jets, because at least they're in year one of the rebuild. I think they would probably steer away from an interdivisional trade. But I do think Miami would be interested in sending him off to either the Patriots and or the Buffalo Bills, as long as the price was right. Like, you're going to pay the tax. Like, you'll probably end up grabbing him for like a first round, like next year, a second perhaps as well. But I would not write that off. And so that Waddle may be an interdivisional trade.
Yeah, and that's an interesting name to keep in mind. I think the trade market's going to be very interesting. The Philadelphia Eagles are a one team that we have to bring up in this conversation because we're hearing guys like A.J. Brown, which is a weird situation because the Eagles are a win-now team, Super Bowl champions, but they could be on the way to bring in a new guy. But we got Tony Dow here to join the conversation. Tony Dow. Look at this guy. Look at this.
Tony Dow.
We just talked about Jalen Waddle potentially getting traded to the Bills. That's what Dan's saying.
Tell Dan to stop, okay? Stop.
Well, all right. So maybe it's not the Buffalo Bills. I do think that Miami would be interested at putting him on the block, though. Right?
Well, the teams are calling. There's a lot of breaking news dropping right now.
But so tell me whether or not that like you agree with this. And I'm not even saying that he goes to somebody within the division.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time with divisional trades, they are rare. But I do think when they do happen, I think a team is more willing to shell out a star to a divisional rival if, for example, that they foreseeably think that this upcoming rebuild is going to be longer than 2 to 3 years. If Miami was like year one right into a rebuild, they'd probably shy away from it. But still with Mike McDaniel at the helm and Chris Greer, who knows if he will still have a job. I think that it's more likely for a division team to shift it off to another division team only if they foresee their rebuild lasting longer than 3. Would you agree?
I agree with how you evaluate it. The problem is I think this is a 3-year situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to try to get move as many people as possible before the deadline. And then after the deadline, obviously we can't make any moves. But you look at free agency next year. Well, when the season is over, they're going to purge the roster. So next year is about possibly hiring the new general manager. Don't know if it's going to be a new head coach or not, but it's about bringing the leadership in, a different regime. And then that person has to take 2026 and evaluate the team and the coaches and make a decision there. And we could be moving on from McDaniel the year after, if not this year. So there you go, going into a second year of it, 2027, with a new coach potentially, which means he has to get his personnel. That's when you might be in a Jet situation. So, yeah, it's going to be a 3-year process. So we're on the back end of it, Dan, right on that cusp where it's dangerous. But, yeah, everybody's movable except one person on the team, and that's Patrick Paul. And obviously they're going to try to invest in their young rookies like Kenneth Grant, who's been terrible, and Jonas Avenaya, who's been terrible as well. They're going to invest in their young guys and keep them on the roster, hoping they develop. But outside of that, everything must go except Patrick Paul.
Except Patrick Paul. What is Patrick Paul doing? Some good this year or what?
Yeah, he's one of the only people holding their own at the left tackle position. Last year's second-round pick.
Wow, that's good to know. Well, we do have some news. Not really news, but news to talk about.
So I like news.
All right.
Go ahead.
Here we go. Let's do this. Da-boom, da-boom, da-boom. I mean, it's right in line with what Dan was talking about with Chris Olave. Ricky Scoops with a scoop, baby. Now, we know this guy's reliable now after what he did with Micah Parsons, right? So anybody that's like, this guy's not reliable. He says the Saints are now open to trading Chris Olave. They weren't willing to move him in the offseason, but that stance has changed, and the team is now listening to trade calls. So that's definitely interesting. I already responded from a Jets perspective. The weird thing about the Jets is we're obviously in a sell mode, but could the Jets maybe still go after him to pair him up with Garrett Wilson for long term because we need a number 2 receiver more than anything? Probably not going to happen. The Jets are going to be selling more than buying, but I would definitely make the call if I'm the Jets. But where do you guys think Chris Olave could be headed? Is there a team that comes to mind? Because, you know, Ohio State receivers are elite. How about you, TD? Any teams that come up for you for a potential Chris Olave trade?
You know, Richie, I have to use a blanket statement because of the state of the NFL. The NFL is so wide open right now that so many teams are going to be active in this trade deadline because they feel like they got a shot, whether it's winning the division or doing something special. So many guys are going to be on the move. Now, if we had the top 6, 7 teams up there already 5-1 and 6-0, and your 6 bottom teams, that'll be one thing. That's normal NFL. But right now, like, you got 1 or 2 at the top, and you got 3 or 4 at the bottom, and everybody's going to want to purge those 3 or 4 at the bottom and try to make their team better. So many teams look good and like they can compete with anyone. So Olave could end up anywhere. But if I was to guess, I'm going to say, listen, the team that you have to link wide receivers to all around the NFL are teams like the New England Patriots, who, number one, have the money. Number two, they could use another weapon because their quarterback is showing that it's worth it. And maybe teams like the Indianapolis Colts. They're shocking the world. Why stop now? Put your foot on the gas and get even better. So those are the 2 top teams that I think you got to really look at possibly making moves. And last one I'll throw out there, the Chargers. So the Chargers, they can really use another weapon and some offensive line help, obviously. So, yeah.
For me with Chris Olave, so I think a couple of teams come to mind. Steelers. And so I think that they are looking for a solidified number 2 for Aaron Rodgers, especially since they've hit the ground running, right? And they have been accomplishing this with only DK Metcalf. You're still not seeing them go out there and be world beaters and being able to put up 30-plus points. I think that's a pretty quality insurance policy. So I think the Steelers are in the conversation. I think that the Chargers, like TD just mentioned, Pats would be interested. Maybe the Giants, maybe they've seen enough from 2 wins from Jackson Dart where they're just like, okay, let's start planning for the future. And hopefully he's going to go on ahead. And look, this is a very low risk signing for whatever team. Right now, whoever would get Chris Olave would only be responsible for about $650,000. His cap hit for the Saints was $5.2 million, but that number was largely based off of the bonuses that he has already been paid. It's just an accounting measure. So whatever team gets him is just responsible for the base salary in which that he is yet to be paid. I'm going to put the Buffalo Bills in this conversation. And so I do think that like we are looking for one more guy, especially since Joshua Palmer is now week to week. So I think that this could be something that Buffalo would be interested in. My concern with him is that he is quite literally a concussion away from retiring. Like he has a significant concussion history. I could see teams wanting to roll the dice anyway, especially since there's an out on his contract next year. But yeah, I think he's going to be on the move. I think Alvin Kamara is going to be on the move. I think Shaheed is going to be having calls. Like Moore is very close into blowing this roster up.
Well, we shall see. I think that there's a lot of interesting trade conversations happening around the NFL. So let's keep that in mind.
So here's one more thing as well. Like we can't forget about the quarterback situation as well, right? Like we have a couple of guys that are on the bench that have started in this league before, Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson, and maybe even Jameis Winston. Do any of those guys end up leaving their team? What do you think about that one? The big question. And first off, like who really needs a QB? Cincinnati went on ahead and rolled the dice on Joe Flacco. By the way, news came out that they reached out to retire Derek Carr and to see whether or not that he was interested in coming and slinging the rock for the Bengals at any point. But thoughts on that?
Yeah, as far as quarterback, that's a little bit more difficult. I don't foresee any major move happening at this point. You could though see a move from a team where they have a quarterback that they've paid and they're losing and they're going to punt on the season. I would not rule out, Miami doing something like a Miami Kyler Murray or something like that type of swap blockbuster trade that could happen. I'm not banking on anything like that, but something like that from the quarterback position is possible. But the veteran quarterbacks, it's unlikely that they get moved to a team that's contending unless they're gearing up for the playoffs to have a really good backup. And the teams that aren't doing good, like you said, none of them really need a quarterback at this point because those are all bridge guys now, not your future. And nobody's in a situation where they're like, we got to salvage the season. We need to upgrade. All of them already tried, and they're 2 weeks too late. They've already went with the guy they have, so they got to keep down that road. So I don't see any major quarterback moves.
So here's a question. So there's a couple of teams right now that are not doing too hot right in the AFC North. It's the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens at this point. And so I think Cincinnati is hoping that Joe Flacco can allow them to at least gather a couple of wins. So by the time that Joe Burrow is back, they have a shot to go on a run and maybe sneak into the playoffs. Same thing for the Baltimore Ravens. Can Lamar go on some magical run? Who knows? Question. Are either of these teams sellers or are they buyers at the trade deadline? Richie. So the Baltimore Ravens, are they sellers or are they buyers at the trade deadline?
I mean, like sellers, like what would they sell? Like they're not selling Lamar. They're not selling Derek. All their other guys.
Mark Andrews comes to mind. So Mark Andrews comes to mind.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens.
I think that the buyers or sellers is interesting. I think that the Baltimore Ravens, they still believe. I don't think they're going to be very active. That's what my answer would be. I think that they still believe in this team. As long as they get healthy at the right time after their bye week, Lamar is about to come back. I think they still believe in this team, and just they're missing their captain, Lamar Jackson. So I don't think they're going to be pretty active. I don't at all.
So what about you, TD?
I'm with Richie. I don't think they'll buy nor sell.
Stay quiet.
Yeah, and wait for their quarterbacks to get back. Yeah, both teams are in a position right now where they've paid people to try to win now, and neither of these teams are like looking at the playoffs and saying to themselves, "Oh, it's over for us." Because don't forget, the AFC is wide open. It's only a 2.5 to 3.5 game lead anywhere in the NFL. And we've seen crazier things, and it may not even be crazy is the word to use. Everybody's still alive. You just know the bad teams, you don't see them turning it around anytime soon. But Baltimore, they got a quarterback issue. Bengals, they got a quarterback issue. Unless it's a quarterback issue, everybody else, it's over. But yeah, for these guys, those two teams, they're going to stay the course. Now, 2 weeks from now, it may be a different story if they're still losing.
All right. I got a topic I want to get into.
Go ahead.
There is a new division that is rising the ranks, not only on this network for our divisional shows, which had a fantastic episode this past week, but you can argue they're becoming one of the best divisions in the NFL, and it's time to put some respect on their name. Damn. And I bet you TD don't even know which one I'm talking about. TD got no idea where I'm going with this. The NFC South is correct. Look at that. The NFC Players of the Week have been announced. The Offensive Player of the Week is a member of the NFC South and Bijan Robinson. The Defensive NFC Player of the Week is a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jamel Dean from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Special Teams Player of the Week is a member from the NFC South in Ryan Fitzgerald. Is the NFC South back? Because I really do think it is.
And how about the leading MVP candidate? Is also
and let's talk about the
South.
leading MVP candidate, Mr. Baker Mayfield himself. He got the Atlanta Falcons coming off a big win over the Buffalo Bills. I mean, this is a serious conversation we need to have right now because you have the number one seed right here in Baker Mayfield, the MVP favorite. Okay, you got Bryce Young playing his best football of his career. You got Michael Penix going out there and slinging the rock. I'm sorry, Saints fans, that you can't be in this conversation. But the NFC South is absolutely making – I mean, the Saints are actually playing good football. They're like the best 1-5 team I think I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
But the NFC South is a legit team here, has a legit division. Is there a world – and the problem that they have, though, is the NFC conference is so stacked that it's going to be hard for these wildcard teams to make it because you look at the NFC North, They have 4 teams all up winning records. The Falcons are playing like a playoff team. The Buccaneers are obviously playing like a playoff team. The Panthers, well, let's see if they can continue this. But the Buccaneers are the favorite to win the division. But is there a world that the Falcons could make the playoffs by either stealing it from the Bucs or even making it as a wild card team? TD, your thoughts of the state of the NFC South division?
Good stuff, man. Obviously the Saints, you kind of ignore their situation, but this is all about Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't forget this team isn't too far removed from winning a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, and Baker Mayfield comes in, fills some pretty big shoes, and keeps this team, up there at the top, always competing. And this is one of the years where he's on an MVP tear right now, leading this team to not only be, poised to have a division champ, but can beat anybody in the NFL, on any given Sunday. Who is their only loss? Do you know who that was? That
was to the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Was there early on Eagles loss?
Yes. It was week 3.
All right, and that says a lot too, against the Super Bowl winning team. But this is all about the Bucs. Falcons, impressive win versus Buffalo. But Buffalo, now you can start to question them. So you just got to keep an eye on the Falcons. Can they keep this up? Is there another juggernaut in their schedule that they can do that too, to really make you feel like overly confident? There's still a team that you can doubt, but they're headed in the right direction. And again, the Panthers, stay in the course. Stay in the course, just being relevant. But I don't think they're going to be relevant in about 6 weeks from now. The distance will start to show itself. It's a matter of, can the Falcons keep up? And I think they may keep up and they get better, but the Bucs run that. They're running it.
Now, when it comes to Baker Mayfield is, arguably the front runner to win MVP, yada, yada, yada. But there's another award that I think we should put some respect on. Is this man right here, the front runner to win NFC Offensive Player of the Year in Bijan Robinson, who was sensational. Can you imagine that Bijan Robinson's 70-plus yard rushing touchdown Monday night was the longest run of his career? His previous long run was 40 yards. That blew my mind. Bijan Robinson, could he win NFC Offensive Player of the Year? He just won the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, but will he win that award? Dan, your thoughts of Bijan Robinson?
Well, you know what? Funny enough, man, like you have to put him in the conversation, especially since him alone had more yards offensively than the entire Buffalo Bills did all game for 4 quarters. That's impressive, right? He's the kind of guy that's going to take over things here. Yeah, dude, you know what? Through 6 games of the season, or 5 for the Atlanta Falcons, he's a menace, dude. He's the next one up. It's great, like when you end up looking at like these top echelon running backs of the league. They normally have 1 to 2 good seasons. Unfortunately, that's just how the shelf life of this position goes. But yeah, man, he's really hitting his stride. And without Bijan Robinson, what would this offense look like in Atlanta? Thankfully, Falcons fans don't need to know. He's killing it right now.
And then you got Drake London as well, who's been an absolute stud for them. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the offseason, I said, watch out for the Falcons because they're like low-key loaded. You want to say that loaded word? That's the low-key loaded team. Their offense has a lot of talent, and you saw it come together on Monday night. But the question is, are they going to be able to keep it up as the season progresses? I mean, it really is interesting. And then you look at the Panthers, Bryce Young has been very impressive. Rico Dowdle, they got like a big problem, which is a great problem to have with the running back position. Chuba Hubbard goes down, and then Dowdle comes out there and is dominating, and now they're versing the Jets this week and the Bills the week after. What's your assessment of Carolina so far, Dan? You were high on them. You're off of them. You sold your stock on Bryce Young. Have you rebought the stock in Mr. Bryce Young?
I have no idea. I have no idea what this Carolina Panthers team is, man. Some games, so they go out there and they look like that they are a true playoff contender, and sometimes you're scratching your head wondering if Bryce Young truly is the answer. I probably wouldn't give a lot of credit to the 3 wins that the Panthers have collected so far this year because of Bryce Young. I think a lot of it would have to do with Rico Dowdle, who had a damn game against the Dallas Cowboys defense. But again, we do need to understand, let's look at quality of competition. As much as I think Dak Prescott has been playing very well this year, even without CeeDee Lamb, we're talking about one of the worst defenses in the NFL. In fact, they are statistically one of the worst defenses when it comes into stopping the run, struggle in the secondary as well. So let's see. So I know that the Panthers are playing the New York Jets this weekend, and the Jets are due for a win. Do they get it done? I don't know. Man. I'll tell you what, dude. And so I already did my picks and predictions, and I gave it to the Carolina Panthers. But, hey, I'm happy to be proven wrong.
How many teams in this division makes the postseason?
Well, say that the NFC North and NFC West didn't exist, you could probably convince me 3. But, man, why do I want to say 1?
Yeah.
Why do I want to say
a little bit more with Atlanta first?
Why do I want to say 1, man? Like that NFC North division, every team's got a winning record. Every single one of them does. Same thing with the NFC West. Like you're looking at the Niners, and yeah, they are coming off of a loss, but what they have been able to do and the record that they have right now with all of the injuries, imagine once that team gets some sense of and so imagine what that division is going to look like when San Francisco gets healthy and like really even marginally. Same thing with the Seattle Seahawks, dude. It's going to be tough, dude. It's going to be tough. I'm going to go with the safe answer, 2 teams, but I would not be shocked if it ultimately ends up being just the division winner over in the NFC South.
Yeah, if the season ended today, it would just be 1, and it would be the Buccaneers as the 1st seed in the NFC. The Falcons are just outside as the 8th seed. And, time is going to tell. You got the Vikings and the Bears and the Panthers and the Commanders. Like, it's crazy. You go into this season, everyone thought the AFC was going to be competitive. No, the AFC is not. The AFC is just a giant mystery. And then the NFC is just loaded with all these teams. You have 12 teams in the NFC that are 500 or better. And then the Cowboys are like, I don't even know what to call them. They're not 500 because they have a tie. But 2, 3, and 1 is like as close to 500 as you can get. TD, what's your thoughts of the NFC South? How many teams will make the playoffs? Just 1, the division winner, or will they have a wild card team?
No, it's just going to be 1, man. It's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even right now, it's reflected that only 1 is in right now. And I'm sorry, I don't see Atlanta finishing better than the Rams, Detroit, Seattle, Eagles, San Francisco, Green Bay, nor the Bucks. And I don't see them ending better than Minnesota and Chicago potentially, nor Washington. I don't think they'll end better. I'll even go out even further. I think Dallas is going to end up passing them, but we'll see because they're struggling here and there. But yeah, I don't, again, just because Atlanta beat Buffalo, they had a great defensive performance. I got to see more. I got to see them with another quality win. And maybe, and I don't know, what if Buffalo loses to another team that isn't great? So that kind of tells us what that is too. So yeah, I got to say just the Bucks right now.
Can we just take a moment and look how crazy the difference of the AFC and the NFC? In the AFC, look at all these losers. In the NFC, you literally have 4 teams technically that have losing records. 4 teams that have losing records. 12 teams, 500 or more. You look at the AFC, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams with losing records. I mean, the difference between the AFC and the NFC has never been flipped upside down. You know what else I'm seeing getting floated around the NFL world? Look at the division leaders. Colts, Steelers, Chargers, Patriots.
All new. All new.
But doesn't that bring us back to an era of football? What year is it? Because that's what it used to be. Back in like 15 years ago with Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, and Tom Brady. That's what it used to be back in the day. And now they're reclaiming their throne.
We back. That's it for Buffalo. We back. We back to the old days, man.
Oh, man. Well, the Jets were good in that era, so hopefully that's the case. But, yeah, man, that's our thoughts of the NFC South Roundtable. We appreciate you watching this clip. Make sure you guys like and subscribe.
Wow, dude. Look at that. Yo, look at that, man. We are doing wonders with our editing team right now. Yeah, wonders.
That's how you got to do it, man. That's how you got to do it, man. That's how you got to do it.
Wonders
All right,
with that editing team.
Let's do a segment that is brought to you by none other than Sleeper Fantasy Pick'em, baby. Because Sleeper gives you $20 for free when you sign up with the code RTS. We got a big matchup between the Unks on Thursday night, Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco, which is going to be a lot of fun to see those two guys go after it. If you guys want to make your parlays, make sure you guys check out Sleeper by using the code RTS by getting a 100% match up to $100. Also $20 for free. The link is pinned at the top of the description, folks. Please go over and check out Sleeper, the proud sponsor of Roundtable Sports Network all throughout the season. Big time shout out to them. And if you guys do sign up for Sleeper, let us know in the chat. We'll give you a shout out. Really do appreciate it, guys. They're giving away free money. Can't get better than that. Terms and conditions apply, of course. Tony says, TD Pats talk, shaking my head. Hashtag sock Bob.
Sock Bob, dude.
Bang.
Bob's really going to go through it this year, man.
Bob? No, man. Listen, you know what I've been doing? And so I had an opportunity of looking over the comment section of is my video last year when Buffalo dropped 2 straight, you know? And I'm seeing the same comments. So, like, that's what I'm riding home with. I'm like, dude, same old story. Yeah. Same ending, unfortunately. But same old story.
That's the bad part, the ending.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what, man? Listen, I will trade it off for some regular season success for the next couple of months and postpone the ultimate heartbreak. That's okay.
Well, make sure you guys
too early for the season for me to be feeling like this. You know what I mean? Just, you know?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It is too early. Now, there's another division.
Give me back.
There's another division. There's another one.
Oh, I like this division talk, man.
Yeah.
I like this division talk.
The state of the NFC North, which is not arguably, objectively, the best division in the National Football League, the NFC North. You have the Green Bay Packers leading the way at 3-1-1. The Detroit Lions right behind them at 4-2. They got a big game coming up on Monday Night Football, which we will preview on this YouTube channel, Roundtable Sports. You got the Vikings at 3-2 and the Chicago Bears at 3-2. Make sure you guys check out the NFC North Roundtable, folks. That is live Wednesdays. They'll be live tonight as we're recording this live. They'll be live 6 p.m. Eastern time, the NFC North Roundtable. Make sure you guys check them out because that is going to be an epic show to see them recap everything around this specific division. But this is the state of the NFC North. I mean, it's really hard to pick who's going to win this division. It's so tight. You have the Green Bay Packers. That tie is saving them. Can you look? I mean, it's so wild that a tie is really giving them the nod here over the Detroit Lions. But at the end, and they also have a bye week. But yeah, I think that the Detroit Lions are a team that is coming off a big-time L to the Kansas City Chiefs. And now they got a big game coming up on Monday Night Football, which is going to be really fun. And then you got the Minnesota Vikings trying to weather the storm with Carson Wentz out there. And then the Chicago Bears, big-time Monday night win over the Washington Commanders. TD, your thoughts? You were the host of this division before Jesse took over on the NFC North Roundtable, so you used to be very plugged into this division. What is your thoughts at the current state of the NFC North?
Strong, man. You know what? They're strong with a lot of uncertainty. The Bears look like they might actually be getting better and better. You know, Caleb Williams starting to settle in, starting to look like a pro, starting to look competent, starting to look like, hey, man, this has always been here. We just needed some time. And I like what the Bears are doing. Ben Johnson, he's doing a good job. They still got some things they need to, work on, but they are doing a great job. Then when you move to Minnesota, that's a problem because of the quarterback situation, but they still have a good defense. They're still in games, and they still have a winning record. They're buying time. So as long as they're winning, it's all good, you know. Then you go to the Detroit Lions. They're the number one team in the division. The reality is the Green Bay Packers have played one less game, so their win percentage looks higher. But yeah, the Lions have already struck that number one, that fourth win. I'll put it like that. So it's gonna be a slugfest at the end of the season in this division. You're probably gonna have 3 of the teams still in it. One of them's gonna fall. I don't know which one, which makes it interesting, but one of them's gonna start to fade in the dust. But Chicago gotta hope that that's not them, and Minnesota gotta hope they can keep winning games with the injuries. So one of them is on fall alert, but Lions and Green Bay, they're going to sit there at the top. Who's going to join them? We'll see over the next few weeks.
Yeah, man, you look at this division, it's really, really fun. Dan, your biggest takeaways, because remember early on in the season, you had the Green Bay Packers finishing in last place. Right now they're in first, but they're not far away from last either. So
they're not.
What's your thoughts of the NFC North right now based off what you've seen so far?
So the take still exists, right? It still is alive indeed. Look, so I look at this team and I do have the Green Bay Packers finishing in third place now, still making the playoffs. But I have the Lions winning it. I have the Chicago Bears in second place, and I have the Green Bay Packers in third, all 3 of them making the playoffs. I have the Minnesota Vikings being the odd man out. I know we have a limited sample size on what J.J. McCarthy looked like, but I think it's pretty clear he needs a bit more development. He's obviously rusty. I am going with the Lions to win it, the Chicago Bears to be in second place, and the Green Bay Packers in third.
Now, do you have any of these teams potentially coming out of the NFC and representing the NFC in the Super Bowl?
Ooh, man.
Going to the Super Bowl, one of these?
Going to the Super Bowl.
It's still too early to say.
Baker.
So part of me looks at this Philadelphia Eagles team as a team that got first rounded against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2 years ago. They also had an issue with their offensive coordinator by running a very sort of like so a bad offense, underwhelming offense. I think Philadelphia suffers a similar fate this year. And then next year, they'll find like a new offensive coordinator and all will be well. If any team from the NFC North that I trust to make it to the big game, I'm going to have to go with Detroit. I'm going to have to go with the Lions. They did lose a heartbreaker to Kansas City. They did look off. But I'm still riding that Lions train.
Anybody potentially representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, TD?
The Bucks.
NFC North.
No. None of them will be in a Super
You're riding high on the Baker Mayfield Bucks to make it to the Super Bowl?
Right now. I like what he's doing, man. He's putting the team on his back and he's refusing to lose games. And when your quarterback playing like that, that guy's out there taking on teams. So, yeah, I got to ride with that. This is a good story, especially for the NFL and Baker. People don't realize how much this guy was trashed early in his career. So when you see moments like this, it's always a good story. And it's not the Geno Smith story. It's not the Sam Darnold story. Those guys who I still don't believe in, they just having a little bit of a resurgence right now. This is the over and beyond. They threw you in the dirt. They said you were damaged. You're no good. And this is a revival story right here for Baker. So I'm happy for him.
So based off of all of the things you mentioned, all right, my last question regarding the NFC North, how many of these teams are making the playoffs?
Richie.
Come on, man. We have the NFC North crew watching. You got to answer.
Oh, man, this is a tough one.
And the number is 3.
And which team's left out?
It's the Vikings are left out.
You got the Bears making the playoffs. You have any idea how a big deal that is?
Dan has always been off of the Vikings, honestly.
I have the Bears making the playoffs.
If the Vikings kept Sam Darnold, you probably would have won the division this year. Just saying.
Oh, stop, Richie. And by the way, the Vikings are doing fine. They're doing fine. In my opinion, they're still doing well.
Last year.
Yeah, obviously. Competition has gotten better.
No, it's because their quarterback regressed. They made a bad decision at quarterback.
No, they played a lot of worse teams last year.
They had a really good quarterback last year, and then they decided to go with an unproven guy who got hurt, and now they have a washed-up veteran who's just.
You're still trying to sell everybody on Sam Darnold.
I don't need to sell. He's selling himself. I don't need to sell him.
He's doing well. We'll see how long this lasts. Okay,
I don't need to sell him. He's selling himself. My boy Sam out there slinging that thing with Seattle.
But I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go two teams though. I still don't think Chicago is ready, and maybe Minnesota's right on the outside looking in.
Wait. Oh, so you have Packers and Detroit as your two teams.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Well, you guys let us know in the comments. Who do you have making the playoffs out of the NFC North? Is it all is it all 4 teams, perhaps? Is it 3? I think 2 is the minimum. But the NFC Conference, like we talked about earlier on in the show, man, it is as deep as it's ever been in terms of competitiveness. You look at the NFC Conference right now, it is absolutely loaded with teams. I mean, there's literally only 4 teams in the NFC with losing records. It is an absolute oh my goodness. I cannot wait to watch how this conference ends up in terms of the playoff picture, because the problem is you may have teams with 10 wins not making the playoffs based off of what we're seeing. We're going to see 10 win, maybe even a team that has 11 wins not make the playoffs because the team that also has 11 wins wins the tiebreaker. So this is as competitive as it's ever been in the NFC. So we shall see what happens in the NFC North. Thanks for watching this clip of Roundtable Sports' 4th and Forever. Make sure you guys hit the like button and comment down below your thoughts of the state of the NFC North.
Damn, dude. Making it easier for the editors right there, dude.
Come on,
Love
man.
to hear it. Dude, love to hear it. How about
we have a new system going on.
Some super chats up in the building, baby. What do we got? The basement has heat. Here for Bob. Look at that, man. Sock Bob, man. We have Baker versus Jones Super Bowl battle of the damaged goods.
Wow.
Hey, it's going to be, I'll say this, it'll be Sam versus Baker in the NFC Conference Championship.
Sam versus Baker would be absolutely nuts.
You gotta stop.
Oh, man.
That would
something give Richie some joy this year. Something give Richie some joy. Right?
Hey, man, something. I got to attach to something, boys. Your boy's down bad.
It's all right.
Down bad. All right, let's get into them Patreon. Habitual Line Stepper is on the line. What's up, man? Habitual.
What's up, 4th and Forever?
What up,
good,
man?
bro?
What's up, homie?
Yeah. I got a little rant. I was cool with being in the house while I was on fire, dying a slow death this season. But then yesterday gave me a realization. Pat Mahomes done entered Tom Brady territory to me. At first, I was in denial, but now I had to admit it. I'm like, damn it, Bills ain't going to make this run, boy. Thought they was going to make this run. Expose my GM for me. Build through the trenches, but nah, all that up in flames. I was like, I can't believe this shit. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. I feel like your trenches is legit, but the reason why we love Mike Mack and the reason why we wanted Mike Mack and he doing this thing out there with Richie Guy Sammy is because that boy could scheme up something. And when he was scheming and we had the #1 defense, we was like, oh, nah, he got to be our next head coach. Now we ain't got the coordinator for that. We out here getting exposed left and right. And this team ain't built for the trenches. So Lamar got to make miracles on the offensive end. We can't get pressure on the defensive end. It's like we build from the secondary out. Like, makes no sense when you had Ozzie corner the market on how to build the team and you was his underling. I don't understand it, but boy, I can't be more pissed at this organization. And then yesterday, Bills losing. I'm like, damn. You can't even hope for other teams, boy. Your season's just up in flames altogether.
Wow. Well, Habitual Line Stepper, we appreciate the call. Seems like a lot of people are just accepting the reality of the situation now. His
A
Ravens
lot
are
of
down
people
bad.
down bad. Yes.
So I feel like that there has to be a correction soon, right? Like with the NFC and stuff along those lines, like we just like noticed that there are several teams with winning records. I think that that's going to kind of weasel its way out. I'd say give it 5 to 6 more weeks right before we start getting a new sense of normalcy. And so like when we see, oh, okay, this is the NFL that we all remember. That's kind of where I'm at. I still think it's far too early.
So you have, oh, I got it. You have the Jets starting to win. I get it.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy the Dolphins are as bad as the Jets. It's really funny. All right, let's get into some more callers. We got Parks up next. What up, Parks?
What's up, fellas?
AKA Bills fans tormentor.
Hey, Dan Mitchell, let me ask you a question, man. You keep on saying that last year y'all lost 2 games and then you went on this 8-9 game winning streak and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you lose those 2 games to us? Did a second-year quarterback outplay Josh Allen in those 2 games?
We had CJ Stroud.
Stop it, man. Stop.
I mean, he was a second-year quarterback. Yeah.
Did he outplay Josh Allen, though?
Oh, yeah.
No.
His numbers were worse than so last Monday in that game. It was awful.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did your defense look last year in that 9-game winning streak? Because I had Christian Benford. Because I'm be honest, I had in the cornerbacks, I had Christian Gonzalez 1. He was an All-Pro. He couldn't be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I had Benford number 2 because he was good last year.
Yeah,
I had Sauce Gardner number 3. He was trash last year, and I had Jalen Ramsey number 4. He was trash last year. This year, Benford looks trash. Your secondary sucks.
Indeed.
So what makes you think you're gonna go on this 8-9 game win streak?
It's manifestation. So at this point,
Dan Mitchell, the only way you go on this 8-9 game win streak is if Josh Allen turns back into the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you, Dan Mitchell, but that is gone. You have Superman Josh Allen now. That MVP is gone. He has to put the cape on and he has to make dumb decisions. He's going to make dumb decisions because your offense, your wide receivers, they suck.
Y'all should just trade Josh Allen, man. Get ahead of it now, man.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they should trade Josh Allen. I think what they should do is build around Josh Allen, which they haven't. Forget that defense. Forget that defense, man. I would rather have with the Patriots. This is what I want them to do. Forget this defense for the next 3 to 4 years in the draft. Draft nothing but offensive players. Mm-hmm. Give me an offense that can score 40, 50 points. Forget this defense, man.
Yeah, could you imagine Josh Allen with the two of the top 25 receivers, or you know what I mean? Like with the elite run. I mean, you got a good run game, but even better. Like that would be
Yeah, and I think also, and thanks Parks for the call, is always very informative. And I think that a big thing that Bills fans are bringing up that is true is what separates the Bills from quote unquote dynasties, in my opinion, that they're not a dynasty, but the Bills are a dynasty that I'm sure Bills fans want them to become, is they don't draft well enough. And if they've hit on their drafts the last 3 or 4 years, more specifically in the mid rounds and even first round picks busts, that's what separates you from being a consistent Super Bowl threat, which you have not been yet. So I think that's a problem that the Buffalo Bills need to evaluate, is their drafts, because if you can find those guys in the day 2, day 3s and fill out the roster and they're impactful on cheap contracts, that's what really makes you a legit Super Bowl threat year in and year out, which the Patriots did throughout their dynasty, what the Chiefs have done these last few years. I think that's the one thing that Buffalo has not been able to do.
Yeah, but not being able to do it, though.
So a couple of things. So a few things when it comes into the Buffalo Bills, right? As far as their offense is concerned, they have completely walked away from their identity. A lot of people are just like, Dan, like your wide receivers are not open, which is true downfield. problem is that like when you unpack the tape, you're always seeing the guy in the check down wide open, and you're always seeing the dude in the flat wide open. But for some odd reason, for the past 2 games, we've seen Josh Allen try to stray away from what made this offense effective last year, was by exclusively taking a page out of Tom Brady's book and literally just killing them with all of the underneath stuff. I don't know what happened. I hope that after the bye week, he can look at the tape and say, all right, this is what made us successful last year. Like, if he were to take all of the things that Atlanta left open for the Buffalo Bills to succeed, we could be having an entire different conversation right now. But we just need to get back into what made this offense work. If James Cook is out there being an effective running back, give him 22 carries per game. 17 is not going to do it. So as long as Buffalo can get back to what their identity was last year, I'm confident that this offense can turn it around. As far as the defense, this is something I would like to see. Sean McDermott needs to start taking over play calling. That's what it is. Last time he was in charge of play calling, we saw a similar scenario where the defense was struggling tremendously, and then he got the entire unit up into the top 5 metrics. What else are you expecting from a second-year play caller? I don't think he's going to do it yet. It's going to take a little bit longer for it, but I have a pretty good feeling that eventually, if the defense continues to struggle, which is so really not even like so that bad. Like, so with TD, so I did raise this question to Bills Mafia during my stream this morning. I said, let's imagine that we're still in training camp and I had a crystal ball where I got to see how many points that the opposing teams would score against you. Tell me if that was a win. I said, if you were in August and I were to tell you that the Patriots were to score 23 points against us and the Atlanta Falcons were to score 24 points against the Buffalo Bills, were the Bills winning that game?
Yeah, I'd be 6-0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like 110%. So I would like to see McDermott take over. I suppose I'm encouraged to see what this team looks like when we get a couple of players back that have been banged up, but I do think that needs to be on the table. If like you still continue to see that, right? And plus, like, look, like, how dare you blame the defense when we held 2 teams to a collective 9 points in the second half of back-to-back games, man? Like, that's an offense problem. It's not the defense. And the defense is doing its job, man. Yeah, it's getting gashed in the first half, but we're looking at an offense that scored well over 30 points most games last year in 2024. Zero excuse.
Dan, I'm asking you to consider this, okay? Because what you said was 100% correct. If the Buffalo Bills get back to the run game, focus on what has shown you success, you can win more games. You're going to be a great regular season team. But that formula hasn't worked for y'all in the playoffs.
No.
And for me, and I also understand what Richie's saying by you got to be better drafters. This is true, but you're not. But you're not.
Yeah, I know.
So to me, it's like there's one thing y'all haven't really tried. Free agency. Getting some of your weapons in free agency. Mm-hmm. Where's the top 10 receiver available in free agency, and then you know what you got. You're not worried about did we hit or did we not hit in the draft. You're built to win now in Josh Allen's prime. You gotta try that method. Go load up for this guy.
It's one of those situations where it's damned if you do and damned if you don't, because we have made 2 very big splash plays in free agency from the Brandon Beane era, and 2 of them just didn't work out. Like, number one was Stephon Diggs. So we traded for Stephon Diggs. I would say that was a splash play for us. And he did well, but obviously was not enough to get us over the hump. He forced his way out of Buffalo. That put us in a terrible dead cap situation. And then with Von Miller, like, that's definitely a splash play. Like, we were hoping that it would have panned out, but like, he got hurt and
on the defense,
like, whatever. Yeah.
But when y'all did it, Dan, when y'all went and got Stephon Diggs, that was the beginning of the era of you need 2.
Yeah.
And y'all were the only ones who missed that mark.
Yeah.
The Bengals did it, Minnesota, Miami, all of those teams, the Eagles, the 49ers. Everybody was going to get there too. You all only did one. I'm telling you, what's missing in Buffalo, go get Josh Allen, who's worth it. That's the key here. He's worth it. 2 top receivers and go out and have a ball. Go put up 40 every week. He's worth that. He's not one of these middling.
Let that Buffalo Bills fan to the conversation. Let's bring in Lino. Lino's in the house. What up, bro? Lino, you're live.
Hey, man, you're muted, brother.
Oh, my bad. I thought I was on it.
You're good.
Hey, I got 2 things I like to say, especially towards Richie, man. 1, get off Sam Darnold's nuts. 2, stop saying that we don't draft well, because the reason why we actually are going to good team is because we do draft pretty decent.
Oh, yeah.
What's the name put it on the head? Tony said it right on the head. It's the offseason. They go for these bargain bin players that are like C-list players that we pick up in the offseason. That is 100% our problem. And our GM, you know what I mean, he likes to try to get cheap players on a cheap cost that can play beyond their cost. But stop saying we don't draft well, because we do. If you think personally that the Jets draft better than us, then why are the Jets always failing? Why are your seasons always not that good? We do good in the later rounds, picking up good players like Matt Milano, late round. Christian Benford, late round. Deion Walker, late round. All these players are late round players. Only one you concerned about is Keon Coleman, because I know that's the person that you're talking about on top of your head. He's not that bad. It's just our offensive play calling ain't directed towards him. Dalton Kincaid has stepped up real good this year, and you kept talking mess on him. He's better than any tight end on your roster. Like, stop trying to say we don't draft well, because it ain't up to your measures. If we up to your measures, why is your team doing good then? Y'all got good all-stars that y'all draft, but your team sucks. Stop saying that. Like, off-season is our biggest problem. You don't know us as well as we know it.
Off-season. Kyer Elam, how about that first round pick?
Hey, he's the bus.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, but we didn't focus on that because that makes no sense. If you keep going, Christian Benford canceled off that whole situation. What are you talking about? Like, a draft bust to me is if you can get 3 or 4 good players out of that draft that can contribute to the team and start, that's a good thing. If you think the Jets are better than us in drafting,
okay,
how come your season sucks?
First of all, you're putting words in my mouth. Where the heck did I bring up the Jets in this conversation? You're the one bringing up the Jets.
Because you think you're an expert at what you're talking about, and you're not when it comes to the Bills.
The Jets have nothing to do with this conversation. So you bringing up
the Jets will always have something. As long as you're coming at the Bills, the Jets will be about this conversation. If your team ain't doing as good as ours,
like you bring it. I mean, if that's the measure you want to stack that you're a better drafting than the Jets, congratulations. Like,
we are
talking about. Okay, cool. I'm not saying that you're not. I've never debated that in my life, that the Jets are better at drafting than the Buffalo Bills. Those words never came out of my mouth. So that's
I'm not saying that the words did. The argument is, though,
stop bringing up the Jets.
The argument is you picked up.
Have hit on their draft picks like other franchises that are filled out their rosters better. I think you'd have more depth and you'd have more solid pieces around it. I'm not saying you're terrible at drafting, but you could have been better. That's all I'm saying.
That's not true. Our players that are doing decent on our team from depth is from our draft picks. The people that's not doing good is the people that we need to pick up in the offseason.
Everybody right now is saying the Bills have a talent issue. They're not as good as people say they are.
Because the people we don't pick up in the offseason. And don't get me wrong, like, you only can pick closer to where you are in your draft position. I mean, I wish we can trade up as far as we could, but we don't work that way because we don't want to lose draft picks for the next draft season and stuff like that. But my biggest thing ain't the draft situation. It's about their off season. They love getting C to D players in the off season from different teams and stuff like that and think they can work with them and move. That's my biggest thing. It ain't the drafting at all. They came up with some good drafts of players that met beyond their measures and you know what I mean, that's doing pretty good. It's not the drafting. Yeah, Kyer Elam didn't work, but so what? We got Christian Benford in that same draft. How does that not cancel each other out? I don't mind that part.
I'm telling you now, and I'm just saying, the Bills.
Shout out to Lena for the call.
If they serious about really doing something this year, because that window could be, getting closed, because other teams are getting better and better. You'll still be competitive because you got Josh Allen. But what I'm saying is, you really want to be serious, then right now on this trade deadline, go get a dude that can change everything. So, and there is some out there to be gotten, in my opinion.
So last year we did, right? Like, we went out and we made a trade for Amari Cooper, right? So
See, you just
it didn't
said
work
it.
out.
That's not a move.
It didn't work out. But like when it did happen, we were just like, okay, like he brings that like. But look, dude, unfortunately, and so the Buffalo Bills have been strapped for cash, man. Like we had like that like Von Miller contract, which it turned out that it was not the right move. But who had a crystal ball that Von Miller was going to go on ahead and tear his ACL for the third time and just never be the same when he came back, right? Same thing with Stephon Diggs. Like no one thought that like he was going to force his way out of Buffalo and like kill us. My biggest problem with this like sort of front office is that we're not the best with free agency. Like draft, like Lino said, like we're solid with mid rounds. Yeah, we struggle with the first round, but each and every single draft season, there are not 32 first round grades in the first round. It's not the case, right? And like where Buffalo has been selecting, it's been between 24 and 30 for the past 5 or 6 years. So it's typically a crapshoot. Free agency, I agree. And so I do wish that like we would go out there and like we would go out and try and find some more skill position players at the end of the day, but we're broke, man. I mean, we're broke. It's that Von Miller and Stephon Diggs contract that really set us back. This year was much better. But last year, yeah, dude, like we can only bargain bin hunt at this point. I'm hoping next year we'll be able to be a bit more aggressive and we could afford more, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. RotoWire, folks. Guys, listen, you probably heard about RotoWire from our fantasy football toolkit / draft kit earlier on in the season. And I hope that it's helping you out with your fantasy football leagues this year. I know it's helping me out. But get this. They have another product that I have been using for quite a bit. It's a player prop research tool, which ultimately ends up allowing you to put in some deep research on what players you should be adding to your parlays. It gives you locks of the week for overs and unders across each and every single platform. So say you use Sleeper, it has all of the Sleeper parlays, has all of the parlays and all of those metrics right on the damn website. Signing up with our code RTS is going to get you 15% off, and you will thank us later. Shout out to RotoWire for being a proud partner of this show.
Roto.
Bang. We'll be live on the AFC East Roundtable tonight at 6 p.m. to go over all things across the division. So we'll see you guys then. We're going to wrap up the show here. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Someone asked, how do you call in? The way you call in is by becoming a Patreon member. That link is in the description, Dominique. You become a Patreon member. It's $10 a month, and you get access to not just Fourth and Forever, but every single network show across the YouTube sphere, including AFC East and every division. So that link is in the description, folks, if you want to become a Patreon member to get access to call in. So we're going to wrap it up here. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you on the AFC East Roundtable at 6 p.m. EST. We're out.